let him hear it. He said, who has ears, let him hear it. Now, the real church, the ones who ain't calling themselves Christians, worried about going to a building, because the building is not the church. The body of believers are the church. Listen to me. Majority of people who calling themselves Christians, the ones who lost. The majority of people who calling themselves Christians are the ones being led by the blind. And the blind falleth where? Into a ditch. You want me, and this ain't disrespect to nobody. I'll back everything I say with the word. Because let me tell you something. For the new people that's on here. For the new people that's on here, because I don't want nobody to get offended when I'm talking. Because you can't gain one out of offense. So I don't speak from offense. I speak with correction, I speak with grace, I speak with truth. Listen to me. I lived the life. I was, in and out of trouble my entire life. So if you know my story, if you read my book, then you know. So I was in and out of trouble from the age 14 all the way up to the age 18. From the age I was either 14 or 15. The first time I went in the Juve, I did 5 months and 5 days. I went in for breaking in somebody's house and stealing. We stole $1,500 and we divided it amongst 3 people. I did 5 months and 5 days. I got out, stayed out a couple of months. I went back in for stealing cars. The second time I went in, I did 10 months. I got out, stayed out a couple of days, and guess what? I went right back in for attempted murder. I shot a man 3 times with an AK-47. I got out, stayed out a couple of months. Guess what? I went right back. I ain't got no lie to tell you. My charge is on there. I went right back for special aggravated robbery, special aggravated kidnapping, first degree premeditated murder, 3 counts of felony murder, and on top of that, an escape charge. An escape charge. So when you talking about somebody who lived a life, I really lived a life. So when you want to start talking about the word, the word is my life. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because without the word, I would not be who I am today. We can knock out all the material because the word has nothing to do with material. So many people feel like they are blessed because of the things that they have. You have never heard Yeshua, who we know is Jesus the Christ, preach about having something is the reason why you blessed. That's why comparison be killing people's dreams. Because a lot of people be comparing if the Most High working in their life by what they have. It had nothing to do with what they have. Matter of fact, when he sent the disciples out, he told them, don't take nothing with you. He said, don't you take nothing with you when he told them to go out. When he talked about being blessed, he was talking about the fruits of the Spirit. The peace, the joy, the humility, the comfort, the self-control. When you operating in the Spirit and you possess the fruits of the Spirit, that's the blessing. Because like Paul said, the scripture that many people take out of context when he said, I can do all things by Christ who strengthens me. But if you go above that, when you go beyond, a little bit up over that scripture, he said, whether I'm up, whether I'm down, whether I'm in the middle, he said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. In the proper context of that scripture, he was talking about contentment. It's so many people who you take the scripture out of context. And then you wonder why so many people are lost. You wonder why so many people are hurt. You wonder why so many people, so many pastors, so they say, bishops standing in these pulpits and they quote these scriptures to give you inspiration. They quote the scripture to give you motivation. They quote the scripture to give you hope. They don't quote the scripture to give you truth. Truth is what cuts you. Truth is what convicts you. Truth is what leads you into a transformation. I'm talking about making a turn. When he talk about repentance means to turn and go the opposite direction of where you was going. And then you wonder why so many people sitting in their churches wondering, listen what I'm going to tell you. You know how many people sitting in the church hurt and won't even tell the person who's sitting next to them what they going through because they know that person going to tell the next person, and before you know it, they done became gossip amongst the church. You know how many people who go into church who've been paying their tithes? Listen to what I'm going to tell you now. You know how many people going to church every Sunday who've been paying their tithes for years, for years and years. And guess what? They still struggling to this day. They still waiting for that scripture to manifest when he said he gonna open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. Your pastor been telling you that Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, and you still operating in a generational curse that you have not broke. Your whole family still operating in poverty. The mindset has not changed. The heart has not changed. And then you sit in your church and let your pastor continue to tell you Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after you don't put your money in a collection plate and tell you he finna pull you out a blessing. But you wonder why you still broken. You wonder why your kids still running wild. You wondering why your relationships and marriages is not working. You wonder why you still attached to all of these people who don't have your best interests in mind. You sitting here wondering why. But then you'll continue to go to the church though. You'll continue to sit up under a pastor who keep giving you words of inspiration, words of hope, words, and they have nothing to do with truth. See, when you start walking in truth, it's a different story. And that's why I decided to go ahead and speak on that, because dude said, and this dude called himself a Christian. When I tell my story, listen to me, I speak from a healed place. I don't speak to be, when you see me smiling, that's a place of joy, because guess what? He allowed me to survive. When you hear me explain the detail, that's just me saying, man, I'm free, because I always know when I can tell the story, because we overcome by the blood and what? The word of our testimony. You know how many times I done been to church and people who get up here and they tell their testimony and it be watered down. I'm talking about it be Aquafina. It be watered down. And because I choose to give the details, the gruesome detail, all the details that many of us struggle with to this day. You know how many people sitting in it, they sitting in their church and they act like they don't struggle with lust. Huh? They'll say, Joe T, you wearing pig clothes. Do you know how many of us is really struggling with lust? Let's have a real conversation then. You know what I'm saying? Because me talking, you trying to say me talking about it is causing it. No. It's in you. It's already in you. Don't blame me for your issue. It's already in you. I speak from a healed place. I'm going to say it again. I speak from a healed place. I'm going to tell you something else I did. When I came home, I was so big on, and I had to tell my daddy this the other day. I said, Dad, when I came home, I was so big on, I didn't need validation. I didn't need approval. Never been that dude. I said, but I wanted people to know that I understand what I did. And I ain't just talking about the murder case. I'm talking about all the situations, the attempted murder cases, the other people that I shot. The girl that I made drink bleach, all the people that I robbed. I said, all the situations that I did. I said, I wanted people to not only see, he said, let your light shine so that man may see and glorify your Father who's in heaven. I said, I wanted them to see that, but I also wanted them to understand that I understand what I did. So I moved in a way, not to please them, but I didn't want nobody to feel like I was disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want nobody to feel like I was being disrespectful, as if I didn't understand what I had done. So I moved in a way to somewhat please them. You know what I'm saying? I moved in a way to somewhat please them people. But then after about 2 years, 2.5 years, something shifted in me. It's too many of us who have already apologized, not only in word, but in action. Listen to me, I'm going to say that again. It's too many of us who have already apologized, not only in word, but in action. And some of us have become we have put ourselves in bondage because we too busy trying to please the people that we know we have wronged. I done already apologized to you in word, and I've shown in action. And a lot of them people will continue to try to make you feel like you need to continue to live in this prison and serve us. I went to prison and served my time. Not only did I go and serve my time, I came home and became a role model to the community. I am no longer a prisoner to you. You know what I'm saying? Before I started telling the story the way that I tell it now, I'm no longer a prisoner to you. I've already apologized in word and action. I healed. My liberty. He said, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. I started feeling like my liberty was being snatched away because I was trying to make sure I wasn't stepping on no toes. I was trying to make sure I wasn't stepping on nobody's toes. But then I started realizing, whoa. Who I'm living for, them or the king? I'm living for the king first, then me. You know what I'm saying? And then I started healing on a whole nother level. And then it hit me. I said, wait a minute. I said, I went and done to the person who said, and this dude a Christian. Let me talk to you now. Before I went to prison, I didn't grow up in no church. I'm not no pew baby. I don't know no church songs to this day. None. I don't know not now church song. I used to feel ashamed when I used to sit in the church and everybody was singing the church song. When I go every now and then and I heard people sing, I don't know now church song. Not now. But look, check this out. Before I went to prison, and now and then my mama would take us to church. I was always the kid my mama had to pinch and wake up, right? Wake up. Then check this out. I'm in and out of juvie, you know what I'm saying? I come back, guess what? Everybody's still the same. These the same people I'm guessing this dude was saying, but this dude say he a Christian. These same Christians was going to church every Sunday. None of them changed. I know these people personally. Everybody who go to a church, if you live in a small neighborhood, guess what? You know everybody. You know the people's families. You know mom and them, such grandmama and them, auntie. You know these people. Guess what? All of these people have went to church my entire life, and they still struggle with the same stuff to this day, whether it be some kind of addiction, whether it be lust, whatever the case may be, poverty, mindset, they still struggling with the exact same stuff, and they have been going to church every Sunday. But hold on, check this out. Look. Then I went and done 10 years. I went and done 10. Listen, I'm going to say it one more time. I went and done 10 years, and I came home, and my community had not got no better. It had got worse. Listen, I'm going to say it again. It had got worse. And we talking churches on every corner. The same person who said, and this dude called himself a Christian because that's what they've been creating, Christians. Guess what? There's people who've been sitting in their church all their life. They can't go out and witness to save their life right now. They can't, they memorize scripture. It's a difference between memorizing scripture and it being wrote. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference. It's a difference of the spirit being in you and you have a knowledge. You have a knowledge of the word. That's why he said, listen. That's why he said, they speak in my word from their mouth, but their heart is far from me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they creating, Christians, not disciples. The word, and for anybody new on here, before you get offended, Christian is not biblical. They was using it as a derogatory statement. Yeshua, who we know is Jesus the Christ, never called the disciples Christian. Paul, go read the beginning of the greetings of the letters and the end of the letters. He never called them Christians. He called them saints. He called them believers. He called them disciples. Never did the brothers in the church call each other Christians. And then guess what they'll tell you? Then hold on. Then it's what they'll tell you. Oh, it's okay. Whoa. But the scripture that's written in red says, do not follow the traditions of men. Men created the term. Why is you telling me it's okay to adopt it? It's not. But look, check this out. Let me get back on task. I went and done 10 years, came home. Everybody was still doing the same thing. Still stuck, still hanging in the same spot. Still stuck in the same broken relationship. Still hanging with the same backstabbing friends. Guess what? Still having the same type of conversation. I read a book by Marcus Garvey one time. He said, never hang with the same people that talk about the same thing every time you come around. You can't learn nothing from them. I went and done 10 years and them folks were still stuck in the same place. What is you talking about? Huh? What are you talking about? What is you talking about? And then check this out. Now, I've been home 5 years. I've been home 5. Listen to the timeline. I would have done 10, been home 5, 15. You add another 5, what's that? 20. 20 years you've been sitting in the church building, paying your tithes, listening to your pastor, your bishop, your deacon, whoever, and you still stuck in your same condition. I wouldn't want to be no Christian. I'm a believer. I'm a disciple. of Yeshua, who we know is Jesus the Christ. Before anybody says, did you say you don't want to be a Christian? No. Because that ain't what Christ was making. Christ wasn't making Christians. He was making disciples. When he formed the 12, listen to this. I'm gonna show you. Let me go a little deeper. When he went and got the 12 disciples, the 12 strong enough, strategic enough, Holy Spirit filled enough to go and make sure we have gotten that same word thousands of years later. We got thousands of churches. It took 12 for the word to make it where it's at today. We got thousands of churches. No power. Do it sound right to you? Honest now. Does that sound right to you? Thousands. It took 12 disciples for the word to make it to us. If they was making disciples, what do you think would be going on? Let's be real. If they was making biblical disciples, what do you think would be going on? Then look, check this out. Oh, that's another thing right there. No fruit. These folks want to say, this man, I'm gonna stay on this. This man jump in my life and say, this dude's supposed to be a Christian. I ain't had to stand in no church building. The Most High let me jump on social media. I've been allowed to touch many. Only by the grace. It's only by the grace that I'm sane enough to even be able to speak to you. At one point, I was taking, hold on, let me give you another part of this moment. At one point, I was taking 23 psychotropic meds a day. 23. I was taking a certain amount in the morning, certain amount in the evening, certain amount at night. It's a blessing that I'm even sane. What about now? I've been chilling, man. I've been chilling. Is it still breaking up? Man, I'm trying to tell him, bro. I'm trying to tell him, man. Listen. People got this stuff so twisted, man. People got this stuff so twisted. Look, check this out. I had a vision a couple weeks ago, right? So many churches, a lot of these churches, they paying their tithes and they building all of it. They got all this money to do what? They adding on to their buildings. They buying more vans. Do y'all not understand what's going on in the world? Do you not understand what's going on in the world? Huh? I'm trying to make sure. When the pandemic hit, people, listen what I'm going to tell you. When the pandemic hit, people had to depend on the government to send them stimulus checks for $1,400, the working class people, in order for them to survive and pay their bills. Because the average person who works don't have enough to survive. If they cut off the supply right now for 6 months, majority of us would be homeless. But listen to me, check this out. But the majority of the people who was waiting on the government are what dude just said, Christians. Your church, who you've been paying your money to for years, wasn't able to provide too much of anything for you. Wasn't able to provide too much of anything. Wasn't able. Am I still freezing? But listen to me. Go to the book of Acts. I think it's chapter 2. It's either chapter 2 or chapter 3. You go to chapter 2 or chapter 3. He said they all came together and they had all things in common. That means everybody had everything. Just, you know what I'm saying? Everything was equally divided amongst everybody. Am I still freezing? Cause I need to drop this one. Matter of fact, I'm finna jump off the live and come right back. I'm finna get off live, come right back, cause I need to say this one. I need to say this live. I'm finna get off live and come right back. Hold on.